Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am Neil with Portal to Ascension. Thank you all so much for being with us today. Today is Wednesday, June 12th. So thank you for spending the middle of your week for this webinar. If you guys haven't heard of us or what we do, my name again is Neil with Portal to Ascension, and we are an online platform for conscious events and to conscious event production. And today you're in for a treat because we're going to do you are a part of a 3-part webinar series on the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, in which you're going to experience exclusive images and information about what is being uncovered there. But first, if you have not heard of us, Portal to Ascension, we have been creating events now for almost 12 years. Started with small meditation events in 2008, and then went into all-day conferences, started connecting with people from Ancient Aliens in 2009, 2010. And then in 2010, we actually hit the road and started creating tours on different topics like sound healing, extraterrestrials, ancient civilizations. And ever since then, we've been picking up momentum. Around 4 or 5 years ago, we moved from live events to 100% online, where we started this webinar platform that you're now a part of today. And at this point, we're doing a webinar a week with different speakers on various topics. We work with over 200 speakers on a constant basis, and there's more speakers every month that we're working with. We cover topics from ancient history, sacred sexuality, conscious nutrition, really anything that we can think of that can empower the individual to take control of their lives and to reflect that outside of them in this new world that is now emerging. So part of that is ancient civilizations, and the topics that we're going over today. A huge component of Portal to Ascension is uncovering our ancient past, alternative history, the history that we were not taught about. As you may know, that history history has been written and rewritten over and over again by the victors, so much so that we're so disillusioned from the true ancient past that there's a lot of information mixed with a bunch of disinformation. And what we're attempting to do at Portal to Ascension is go through all that awareness and also speak about new archaeological discoveries so we can paint a picture of, where we came from, who we are, who the ancients were, and what that information means to us. So before we get into the presentation today, and we're waiting for a few more people to join, we only have around 15 people in the room so far, but we have over 200 people registered. And we're also going live on Facebook. So hello to everybody on Facebook. If at any point you have a question, there is an area that says Q&A. You can click that and type up your question. And when we get to the time for that, I can go ahead and ask Jock the questions for you. But just a couple of announcements before we get started and let you know about some other events that we're doing. Again, we create many events, tours, conferences, retreats. And right now we're on multiple tours where this is our website right here, and you can see Jock's event page. But we also have our online event university right here where you can check out all of our online events. We have our live events. You can see all upcoming events, the tours that we have with Celestine Prophecy. We're touring right now, 3-year global tour. And we have a tour going on right now with Michael Tellinger. If you are in the Boulder area and want to come out and check out some of our local events there, we do have an event tomorrow in Boulder with Hugh Newman and Jim Vera on ancient Nephilim, the pyramids, and stone circles, in which they're actually going to announce some exclusive information that just came out about giant skeletons that were discovered. And then also, we're going to be in Boulder with Celestine Prophecy with James Redfield. And lastly, we are on tour right now with Michael Tellinger. There's a 16-city U.S. tour that we're currently on, and we just finished San Rafael, going to Portland, and we're coming all around the East Coast. So if you guys are in the area or want to come and attend one of our events, please do. We're doing 4 or 5 events in Boulder this year. We're going to have many in California, and then our main event at the end of the year in October, which is going to be on the Portal to Ascension Conference. 15 people in Irvine, California, October 4th, 5th, and 6th. All right, so now let's get into today's topic. Let me stop my share here. So today we have Jock Doubleday, who is going to be speaking on the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. And there's going to be 3 parts to this. So today is episode 1 on the 12th of June. Then we have another one on the 19th of June, and then the last one will be on the 26th. And if you registered for this, you will get the updates on all of it. And a little bit about Jock. He is an American writer, researcher, stoneworker, and videographer For 16 months in 2014 and 2015, and for the additional 3 months in 2017, he worked as an official videographer for the archaeological park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation, a Bosnian NGO nonprofit organization. He has written extensively about various features of the Bosnian Pyramid, Mega Complex, and other ancient sites around the world. So you have an exclusive today with Jock, who has been there on the ground taking many photos, where he's going to take us on a guide through the Bosnian Pyramid Complex and give us his perspective on what he's discovering there. So Jock, are you here with us?
I am here with you. Hi, Neil.
Hey, brother. Thank you so much for being here. And if you want to go ahead and start your webcam too. Excellent. So go ahead and take it away, and I'll be here on standby. And whenever you're ready for questions, let me know.
Thanks, man. Well, the last researcher you mentioned, Michael Tellinger, spent a month down in his beautiful village back in 2015 as a he needed some videos made, so I made a few videos with him. There's one in Adam's calendar if you want to check that out, where he's just, it's like Adam's calendar in the mist. It's a beautiful misty morning, and then the sun comes out and he's talking about the ancients, and it's absolutely beautiful. That Adam's calendar location is incredible. It's on this really steep cliff, and it's just absolutely amazing. So I'm a big fan of Michael Tellinger, and I just love all the it's like I look at the researchers who are the independent researchers, I look at them as like a big, I don't know what you call, it's like a hive of bees, but of ants, like a herd of ants or something. It's just so many people are coming out with this amazing information, and the Orthodox, you can't stop this information. You can't stop ants. And I feel like that's what we are, the researchers, and we all put our piece in. I'm not a mathematical minded scientific, the usual scientific kind of guy. I'm a playwright, and I write screenplays. I'm into story, but the story of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex is absolutely mind-blowing. And so that's why it draws me there. That's why it keeps drawing me there. And I keep going back, and I keep in touch with Semir. I talk to him several times a week. Semir, by the way, for the people who don't know about the complex, he's the one who discovered the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. And just before this, I had all this set up, and I was standing outside grounding in the sun here in Texas. And I was thinking, you know what, I should change the beginning of the presentation. I think the sun helped me figure something out, which is to let people know, because a lot of people don't know the sort of the foundational stuff about the Bosnian pyramids. The reason, it's a really simple reason why they weren't discovered until 2005, when Semir Osmanagic said, hey, that's a pyramid, and that was the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. That's what he named it that day. The pyramids in Bosnia are not made out of the same materials as normally you would find those sort of somewhat regular right-angle blocks that you would find in Egypt, Central America, South America. So the material is much different. We're going to get into that in detail in this talk, because it is about the riverbed. I spent 23 months there. 19 of those months were as the official videographer, as you mentioned. And then I came back for, several months just on my own, and just made videos and was exploring. But even as I was working for Semir and making short scientific videos for him, I was out exploring, in my off time, and making videos about different aspects. And little by little, you start to see more things. And the riverbed became the key to it all for me. So the foundation did publish my first article on the riverbed. Okay. But then the foundation doesn't officially endorse the riverbed as part of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, as a structure in the complex, simply because they haven't had time. Semir's off on tours all the time, and literally his staff he's only got 30 employees, and they're doing lots of stuff. So they haven't had time to inspect the riverbed. And so I sent Semir all my videos and my articles on it and photos, and I said, can you check this out? So he's going to go check it out this summer when the river's low. The Fojnica River that winds through the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. He's going to check out the Fojnica, the structure of it. And hopefully they'll come up with an official, announcement that's another structure in the complex. So that's my hope. I'm convinced by the videographic and photographic data that I have, and I want to make that scientific presentation to your audience today. So I'm really excited. All right, I guess I'll just go ahead and share. I'm used to it being an interview format, so I was waiting for you to say something, but I guess I'm just going to go ahead and share as we talked about, and share screen, and here we go. All right, so you folks are all probably interested in the data, all right? And so the data is in the photos. Most of these are my photos. This is not one of my photos, and this is somewhat, I think whoever took the photo probably did a little bit of contrast and different things, colorization, but this is the structure of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. What we see on the right, the main structure is the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. They call it Visočica Hill in Visoko. And Visoko is the little town that's just sort of in the middle there. And a lot of people live on the pyramid, as you can see, and then it gets to be too steep and you can't get up there. So behind it is the Pyramid of Love. And interestingly, those two structures are tied together with an alternating clay stone and concrete staircase. Now, it's not a regular staircase like you would see in Roman times or in Roman building. It's not. In the Bosnian Pyramid Complex, everything is slightly, to our eyes, it's off as far as construction materials, the form of them goes. In other words, we don't have the regular blocks. Everything is a different, every single step in that staircase is a different thickness, and so it won't be concrete, clay stone, it'll be concrete, then 12 layers of really thin layers of clay stone, baked, adhered clay stone. So it's adhered to each layer is adhered to the next. And then the layer of concrete, different thickness, all the way up in that crevice between those two pyramids that are sort of on the right of middle there. So that's the Pyramid of the Sun in front, Pyramid of Love behind it. And these were named by Semir Osmanagic in 2005. He had come back from his worldwide travels, and he had found what he had found is that he had been literally looking at pyramid complexes all around the world, and he came back to Visoko. He was born in Zenica, Bosnia, and that's only 20 miles west, a little bit north of Visoko, but he'd never been to Visoko in his life. So even though he lived in Bosnia as a young man and went to school in Sarajevo. So here he comes back to his home, after writing many books on ancient civilizations, and after exploring many pyramid complexes where he would find the tunnel systems always associated with the pyramid complexes. And he comes back to his home country of Bosnia. And he looks up at this hill in Visoko and he goes, that's a pyramid. I mean, he took out his compass first, checked the northern orientation. We're looking at the northern face right now. So we're looking directly south at the northern face of the Pyramid of the Sun on the right. And he said that there's a pyramid, he didn't say it with that accent. And he, went on top of it. And then he noticed, on the other side, there was another pyramid that he named that day. After naming the Pyramid of the Sun, he called it the Pyramid of the Moon. I'm just going to scroll through a few more photos. This is the beginning of my volunteering. So I was really excited to find out about it in 2011. So that's me with my little amateur video camera. When I just went out to volunteer and just said, hey, I want to help. What can I do? He said, well, can you organize a scientific conference? And immediately I thought, well, he doesn't realize this, but I'm pretty ADD. I mean, I got good nutrition to sort of combat that, but I was like, I was thinking to myself, that's probably the worst place you want to put me, is organizing anything. But the hilarity of it is that that's what he needed. So I just entered into the cosmic joke of me organizing a conference. And so I did my best, you know, and so I organized it. Meanwhile, while I was doing that, I was making videos of Semir. So there's Semir kind of in the middle on the left, center of attention as always. He's a big celebrity in Bosnia. He's the doctor. He's the wise one, the man with the PhD in Mayan studies, you know. And one of the jokes with the foundation crew, the nonprofit that he started to oversee excavation, the Archaeological Park Foundation, one of their inside jokes is that they call him Svemir, and that means cosmos or universe, because he's a big picture thinker, and he's just, so people absolutely love him in Bosnia. You can't get near him. It's impossible to get his attention. There's always 20 people mobbing him, you know, telling him how awesome he is. So, and then there's tourists. I mean, they've had 550,000 tourists since 2005. So that's, and they, of course, everybody is like just totally crazy about him. So that was one of the conferences. That was the one that I helped to organize. And I had happened to bring my suit, and he was just shocked. He's like, "You brought your suit? Let's have you present me," you know. So I did that. So I was making videos, making these amateur videos, right? Amateur camera videos. In other words, my camera was not the best resolution camera because I was just a guy who wanted to help. I didn't realize I was going to become a videographer guy. I was just making videos because it's the best camera I had. So those are all on my amateur camera. And you know, it does the job. It gets the word out. That's what I wanted to do, was get the word out to people about, you know, the information that the scientists had. You know, you've got Nenad Djurdjevic, who did a lot of study there. The volunteers, let's see, volunteers. This is one of the archaeologists from Italy. She came out to be the lead archaeologist and was told before she came to the Bosnian Pyramid Complex that there was no way that they would give her work when she came back to Italy if she went to work in Bosnia. And she said, "Why?" And they said, "Because we know there are no pyramids there." And she said, "Well, I'm going to Bosnia." And that was how it worked for me as a volunteer. You know, I wrote to Semir's foundation and I said, I want to volunteer in 2011. And they said, "We're all full up. It's our second year and everyone's all excited. We got so many volunteers coming in. We're full up, but thanks for writing." I said, "Well, I'm going to see you soon." Because I just came out, you know. And then when I got there, I just said, "Can I help?" And he said, "Yes." So I was doing, so the volunteers, you know, and the tourists and et cetera, let me just go full screen on this if I can find full screen, how to do that. Oh, maybe it's there, or let's see. Is that going to work? No. Okay. Anyway, so you can see, I kept in touch with Semir after I left there I left after about 3 months and came back to the States, and then I started writing articles. So that's one of the articles that I wrote. And there's the LiDAR scan. Let's see if I can, is there a way to go full screen on this so you guys can see better? That's not going to be it. Hold on. So let's see. I don't know why it's not doing full screen. Okay. So, all right, let's try this again. Let me just start here from where we were. Hold on. All right, there we go. So I was bringing this information to the world because it's so exciting and to me so important, you know. That I just kept writing articles. I stayed in touch with Semir, and basically he said in 2014, "Why don't you come back and you know, be the official videographer?" So I did that, and then that was awesome. So I got a really nice. He said, "You got to get a great camera. You got to get a professional camera and a laptop." I was like, "Okay." So did that. Stayed the winter. Kept working. Wrote an article for Wikipedia, which they rejected in 10 minutes. Do not try to get information to Wikipedia. They will not accept it. So there's Semir, right? Now he's in Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth, which is a tunnel that he discovered by asking children in Visoko if they knew of a cave or a tunnel that they played in. And they said, yeah, there's this thing over here, you know? So he went, it was a little tiny sort of hole in the hill. You couldn't go very far into it, maybe just a few feet. I'm not really sure exactly, but it wasn't and really low, like for a child. It was about as tall as you could get for a child. You'd have to go on your belly as an adult. So he started to excavate the loose fill-in material there. And because he knew that tunnels systems were always associated with pyramid complexes. And he thought, well, the Bosnian Pyramid Complex will have a tunnel system. It's just a question of where it is. So that's deep into Ravne Tunnel Labyrinth, only because he put his own money from his business in Texas and tourist money from tourists coming to visit the complex behind the foundation to pay people to excavate the fill-in material of this incredible tunnel system. Now, oddly, the tunnel system, which was probably built 34,000 years ago, estimated, which is the estimated date for the complex, it was probably built all as one thing, was filled in 4,600 years ago by an unknown advanced culture. Now, so we don't know who built the complex, who built the tunnel system, and we don't know who filled it in 4,600 years ago. Now, if we were going to fill in a tunnel system, what would we do? If we were going to block it because we didn't want someone to go in there, we would concrete the entrance, maybe 2 or 3 meters of concrete, call it good. That's it. What the ancients did, these particular ancients 4,600 years ago, whoever they were, was to fill in 90%. I mean, the amount of work they did, we're just undoing the work, and it's years and years and years and years of work just with our primitive technology here in our advanced society, you know, wheelbarrows and shovels. And so it's just loose fill-in material from it's river stones and sand that they brought in. So in other words, presumably they were going to come back and take it out one day. Otherwise they would have just concreted it. But they made it loose so it could be taken out. So we're taking it out, maybe ahead of their schedule, whoever they are. Or maybe it's right on schedule. Maybe we're the ones that were meant to come and do it. And that's, I can't speak for Semir, but I have a feeling that's what he's thinking. Like this is the time to excavate this now. Let's do it. So he put all his energy, all his spirit, all his soul behind this project. And that, because of him, that tunnel, that's hundreds of meters into a tunnel system that's a labyrinth in the Bosnian Pyramid Complex that was packed to the brim with loose sand and river stones. Not 1 inch, not 1 centimeter of sort of settling. You know how you get a box of cereal and it's like half full because it's settled? Well, the ancients who filled this in 4,600 years ago knew how to pack a tunnel. They sure did. Because I don't know how they did it, but we don't know how they did any of it actually, because it's such a gargantuan, large-scale engineering project. But anyway, so we're excavating all this stuff. When I say we, I mean the foundation that he started. And but one of the mysteries of this tunnel system is that the water channels were left open. I'm going to get to the riverbed super soon. I just want to lay this out, because water somehow is a key element here. The water channels were left open by the people who filled it in. We found the water channels along the side of the main passages. There's many branching main passages in the tunnel system that he excavated. And along the side, you'd find drywalls. And behind these drywalls, if you excavated the drywall, there'd be some fill material, then another drywall fill material. And then sometimes they would open up into a water channel. So I think there's been there's been at least 7 that have been found. And they wind along. They start like a centimeter deep. They get deeper and deeper, go up to your hip or so, and then they stop. And they wind around, curve around, and then they stop. No one knows why there's water channels. The water comes up from below and is continually rejuvenated because they pumped one out to see what would happen, and it came back within a day. It's fresh, continually rejuvenated water, essentially spring water, and they sell it as a souvenir, as medicine, because it's absolutely, the Bovis rating on this stuff is unbelievable. So the water channels were left open. Why? why did they plug the tunnels? Why did they plug the side tunnels and actually build dry stack walls, dry stack stone walls? That's just a way of talking about mortar-free walls. In other words, they just stacked the stones on top of one another without any mortar. Why did they do that? It was clear that one day somebody was going to come and excavate this. Otherwise, they would have concreted everything. They would have mortared everything. So let's continue on with the water channel mystery, right? It was my job as the videographer to make videos of the scientists who came. Sue Jones on the right with the hard hat is an osteoarchaeologist. And Semir was really excited to have her. We have hours of footage of her talking in Ravne. She is an amazing, amazing woman with incredible gifts of insight. And I won't go into the specific insights that she has, but she's way beyond the normal scientist. Let's just leave it at that. So we have Semir looking at a megalith. There's lots and lots of megaliths in the tunnel that were discovered by excavating the loose fill-in material, the sand and the river stones. And all these megaliths were never in the center of the tunnels, by the way. They were always on the side. Clearly, it was the center of the tunnel was left open for whoever, to walk through. We don't know who was supposed to be walking through there. Maybe we are, I don't know. So I would make videos of whoever was there, volunteers, tourists, scientists. Energy scientists, sound engineers, electrical engineers. Here's a sound engineer from Finland, Heikki Savolainen, super cool guy, great scientist. I mean, just dedicated. These guys are actually mid-range folks from NATO who are in Bosnia, and they said, "Can we come and check out the complex?" And he was really excited to have them there because, little by little, people start to get the clue that maybe there is something there. Even in their own country, a lot of people say, no, there's nothing, So everybody was super nice in the complex. The tourists were really knowledgeable. They knew a lot of stuff. So I would interview everybody that showed up. Now, to give you an idea of, and if you want to find those videos, by the way, just go to Bosnian Pyramids on YouTube. Semir wanted a backup channel for his official channel, which is Bosnian Pyramids TV. So I said, sure, I'll start a backup channel, and it won't have perfect duplicates because there's a lot of Bosnian language videos on Bosnian Pyramids TV, and mine are mostly English language. So, but at least there was a channel just in case of some kind of copyright strikes got it taken down. So we have 2 channels now. So here's the layout. We got Visoko basically in the center there. Then we have the Fojnica River. If you go all the way to the left, you see the little town of Fojnica where that red marker is. It's I think they've got about, right now, census tells me it's about 12,000 something people in Fojnica, small town. Visoko's a bit bigger. I think they got 45,000 in Visoko. But there's a village mentality, a village feel to these towns. I mean, they're living in another age. It's pretty cool because they're out gardening and they're out, making, they're living real lives with nature. It's fantastic. And then the pace is really slow there. So, so there's the Fojnica River, that little blue line, and you can see how it goes east and comes north into Visoko, where the center of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex is. All right, so a little bit closer in, got 2 tunnel systems. There's Ravne. So the entrance is, let's see, the entrance is somewhere in there. And then we're mostly digging this way, but they're also finding other tunnels associated with it there. So KTK tunnel system is another tunnel system closer to the river. It's right above the river. It's only a few meters above the river. Ravne is way up on a hill for some reason. So 2 different tunnel systems, 2 different types of material. I won't go into that. So the direction of flow of the Fojnica, it's coming right into the center of the complex. Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun is on the left. Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon is here. Bosnian Pyramid of Love. Then you've got the Temple of Mother Earth here, a curving satellite dish-shaped pyramid, basically. And other structures. Okay, then you got the Bosnia River, or what they call the Bosna River, and they join together and go north, right in Visoko. So the two rivers join. All right, so here's the Fojnica, right? So we're finally getting to it. Very placid river. There are some stretches where it's a little bit quicker than this, but there's no way you would ever like say, I want to do a white water rafting trip down the Fojnica. That would be absurd, because it just doesn't give you enough. It's not deep enough. It doesn't give you enough speed, So in the summer, late August, you can just walk right up it. Starting about here is where I first went up in 2015. I just walked in and just walked right up. When I say up, actually, I mean, let's see, which way? Yeah, that's actually, is that upstream or downstream? Going that way. I guess that is upstream. Yeah. Because it's coming toward us north. So we're looking south. Yeah. So, all right. So Pyramid of the Sun is there. Pyramid of Love. Temple of Mother Earth, Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon is over here. So they're all clustered. This is the center of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. Tallest documented pyramid in the world on the right. Second tallest, you can't see it on the left, Bosnian Pyramid of the Moon. Okay, so the river goes right through the center. And in August 2015, August 8th, I just walked, actually it was just a little bit upstream from this bridge. I walked in, walked up. Then I brought some friends back three days later, and we went in right here. So let's go forward. That's where the two rivers join. We're still looking south. They're both coming toward us, going north. All right. All right. Now I'm going to talk about something I've never talked about, and then I'm going to get to the meat of it. All right. But I want to introduce the meat, the central thing that I want to say, by talking about something I've never talked about in interviews before. So I've been doing interviews, podcasts, and radio interviews for a year. But this is really, really cool. All right. Right here, what you see, the material of the riverbed is concrete. This is, remember that map where you saw Fojnica on the left and the river's going right and then it turns north? This is just before it turns north into the complex. So before it turns north, you got concrete. The entire riverbed is concrete for many kilometers. And it's this weird blobby stuff. If we made a riverbed out of concrete, it would look like the LA Canal, or any canal that you see in a metropolis area. It's flat. It's basically flat. And then you got the steep sides, and that's it. There's nothing irregular about it. But what the ancients did is completely different. They channeled it. It's sort of blobby and completely unrecognizable as anything artificial. And no one would ever think that this concrete was anything but natural, and there is something called pudding stone, which is natural concrete. And so, of course, the geologists would say that this is natural concrete. All right, so then as we approach Buci Bridge, and I hope I'm pronouncing Buci right, I just, B-U-C-I, it's a little super small little village just south and a bit west of the heart of the Bosnian Pyramid Complex. So there's Buci Bridge. Here's a channel in the concrete. So they've got these straight line channels, and the geologists would be like, well, that's just the way it formed. And I'm like, well, I'm just a playwright, but this thing's built. And you're like, well, that sounds crazy. Why would they build a riverbed? Well, we're going to get to that. Okay, now we're looking west. So the sun is descending, right? That's all concrete right there. See how it's diagonal. They got those diagonal lines happening. There's channeling, there's sectioning. So we see there's lots of sectioning. When we get closer, we'll see more sectioning. So that's all concrete. We're standing on the bridge, Buci Bridge. Still concrete. Then we get to the other side of the bridge. So I'm down in the water now. And it starts to change right there on the other side of Buci Bridge. On the northeast side of Buci Bridge, the concrete changes to baked, adhered clay stone layers, all right? And it just morphs into it. And so Yep. All right, let me just exit out for a second and get back to, because suddenly my slides are telling me they want to go somewhere else for some reason. All right, so let's see. All right, so there's the, yeah. Okay. I'll do fewer slides at one time and see if that works for the so as the material switches, as the river is going into the complex, we see claystone layers, right, that are adhered to each other, baked and adhered, and no concrete at all. And it looks natural, right? I'm just going to let the slides just run as I talk, but let me just stop it here. It looks natural to anybody. No one ever thought, before Semir showed up, no one ever thought anything there was built, you know? They thought it was all natural. But even though they're finding these stones when they're digging their foundations on the Pyramid of the Sun, they're like, what are these stones? But see, every stone in the complex is different. Every single stone is baked differently than every other stone. I mean, it's an astonishing work of engineering. The Artistic Technology of the Ancients is a title of one of my videos and articles, because the meticulous care they put into all their stones. And you're looking at one right now. This is a stone, but it's a very special kind of stone. There's a lot of special things about this layer in the riverbed. There's so many things about it. I'm just going to go into them because I think this is a good photo to just talk a little bit. Okay, as you notice, there's a lot of modeling on the top. Geologists would say, oh, that's rippling from water action. Well, it's not. This is, I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing because it's so crazy. I'm not laughing at institutional geologists at all. They did their best. They're doing their best. It's just that no one would think that anyone would build a riverbed. Why would they? So we have the textured stone for some reason throughout the complex, in the pyramids, in the tumuli. We have megalithic stones and smaller stones that are construction stones in layers that are textured on the top and flat on the bottom. Nobody knows why. Why are they textured? What's this waving about? It's not a regular rippling, it's an irregular gouging. So it's not water action, okay? Now, it's a thick layer. You can see how thick that thing is. Then there's also thin layers. There's different thicknesses, right, of layers. This layer in the riverbed is adhered to the layer below it. Then this layer, was the really thin layer on top of it, is adhered to that layer. How did they do that? That means that this layer had to be put onto this layer as this layer was cooling, presumably. I mean, obviously the people who built this complex had technology beyond what we have, but so maybe there's a way that they could do that, but without doing it that way. But it seems to me that if you're gonna bake the clay, this is made of clay, and it had to be heated to be so strong. And we know that the concrete on the Pyramid of the Sun was also, that the binder for the concrete on the Pyramid of the Sun, it's been analyzed by 5 different scientific institutes in different countries. And they all say it's geopolymer concrete, and the binder was clay. And that clay is in this layer. And the whole riverbed is made of clay, heated clay, except for that concrete section that stops at Bootsy, coming in east and north. So this thing is clay. It's a claystone layer. And it's baked, and to a minimum of 900 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how they got it that hot. It could be hotter, but that's what the scientific institute said was the heat that was needed for the concrete on the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which is a top layer above all the claystone layers that the ancients put there. So this clay is baked, adhered. So each layer is adhered. So every single layer is adhered to the one below. You can't separate these layers. They're adhered. It's one mega structure. It's all stuck together through heating How in goodness name did they do that, right? So also before I leave this one photo, this is actually a really good photo to show you that as we see as the riverbanks go up, they become the pyramids on either side. So this one is becoming the pyramid of, I think this is probably still the pyramid of love. A little further down, it'll become the pyramid of the sun. All the way down, you see it go as it's rising up out of the riverbed. The bed, which is one concretized clay adhered structure, becomes the pyramids. It's absolutely shocking, and I'll show you really, really detailed evidence of that. That's the same layer there. I'm gonna let the slides go, and we'll just I'm gonna just run the slides and see if we get see what we get. So we're looking, those are the friends that went on the second excursion. The one on the right was a big Victor Schauberger fan. He's read all his books, and Victor Schauberger talks all about river water action and the vortexes and the incredible properties of the energetic properties of rivers, the river water. So it was great to have him along, Christopher Kindmark. So the volunteers would come along. I call it bathing suit archaeology because in August, that's when you want to go and explore the riverbed if you want to do some bathing suit archaeology. So this is just at the bottom, literally at the bottom, the base of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and the Bosnian Pyramid of Love. This is the foundational structure of those pyramids, which are massive, gargantuan structures. And you say to yourself, why are they building a riverbed? Why didn't they just let the natural riverbed be there and then they put their pyramids on the earth? Well, the reason, presumably from an engineering standpoint, is that if you tie your structures together through the riverbed so that it's all one concretized structure, one clay stuck together structure, then water cannot get under near your pyramids to erode them. So all of the water is flowing across the megastructure that is the riverbed. Let's just call the riverbed the megastructure, but then there's obviously there's a super megastructure, which is the entire complex being stuck together. All the pyramids are joined through the riverbed. All of the major structures in the center of the complex are tied together through this riverbed in a structural way. So this baked adhered claystone layering becomes these incredible, massive, huge structures that the orthodoxies say don't exist. They don't want to come out and visit it. So I'm just going to go, now that we've reached the limit of that, I think my slideshow does better if I just put I have so many photos. I have 45,000 photos, not for this show. Don't worry, not for this presentation. But I have so many photos. And all right, so here's another example. I just want to really drive this home because this is the key. And this is this photo I sent to Semir to say, look, I mean, you gotta get your foundation crew down and check out the riverbed, your geologists, because this is where it changes. Okay. Now, what we saw previously, what you just looked at, the 40 or so photos, right, was baked, adhered claystone layers. Baked clay, adhered to each other, one structure, right? Here, as the riverbed begins to go up, and this is looking north, so as it goes up on the right, that's turning into Osceola Hill, which is another built structure, which is right across the river from the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and the Bosnian Pyramid of Love. So this is becoming another built structure on the right. This is the foundation of Osceola Hill. And nobody knows why they built Osceola Hill either. It's a super steep structure. Nobody knows what it is. It's not a pyramid. It's not a tumulus. So why are they building a hill? But we see how the riverbed, which on the far left, and you can't really see this in this photo, but on the far left, it was the baked adhered clay layers. And now it's beginning to change as it goes up above the level of the water. Then it begins to have some soft clay layers in it. And throughout the complex, the claystone layers alternate with soft clay. And you're like, why would they do that? Why would they put soft clay in a pyramid that they want to last? Wouldn't you want to bake it all? Well, they don't do that because presumably, again, this is speculation, but it's throughout the complex, so there's got to be a reason, presumably to help mitigate earthquake kinetic energy. The soft clay between the hard baked clay layers allows the structures to move, to be flexible when there's an earthquake. But of course, if you put the soft clay in the riverbed, deep, in the bottom layers of the riverbed, that's going to get washed out by the river's constant action. So they only started the soft clay layers up further. And then you start to see more and more thicker layers of claystone as you get up on Fojnica Hill. It's thicker layers and really thick layers of soft clay, really thick layers of meters thick of soft clay between the claystone layers. So this is how they did it. They just tied it all together. I'll just let the slides run. So I've given you the meat, as it were, of the presentation. This is still the baked claystone layers here. See how they look so natural? And I mean, people on the internets do not, I'm going to stop it here, but there's so many commenters who just go, look, that's just crazy, built riverbed. It's obviously natural. And it's like, it does look really natural, but once you see that the pyramids, see this white space at the top? The reason this is actually, the photo is, I turned the camera to the left a little bit to capture this white space, to let people seeing this photo know that that's where the pyramid is up there. If we stick our heads up a little further, we're going to see a big pyramid. Okay, so this becomes the pyramid. The river. I'm standing in the river, or right on the river bank, right here. And this is where the river bank starts to get pretty steep. Now this has been revealed because there was a big flood, really big flood in Bosnia only a few years ago, and that took out all the soil and vegetation. And now the vegetation is coming down a little bit. But all this was revealed recently. Because there is some soft clay layers in there. So the river was able to gouge it out, even though the banks this is way high up above the riverbed itself. It's still, the floods were able to reach that high, and they started to take out the soft clay, and then this started coming down. These construction blocks start coming down. But these are level layers. It's just that I wanted to turn the camera to capture the white sky up there so people would know what they're looking at. So you got those perfect construction blocks, perfect in the Bosnian sense. Bosnian complex sense, where the blocks are a little bit more regular. It's still not quite Roman blocks, but a little more regular. So they started to come out because of the flooding. But here's the photo that shows, we're going to be a pyramid pretty soon. Just watch us, watch us do it. Really, really tight construction with those two stones there. This one is not so tight, and there might have been clay in there that was earthquake mitigating. I don't know. Let's just keep going. Some more baked adhered clay layers. We've got this weird diagonal construction, which is to me, so artistic once you realize that it's not just random nature. Of course, nature is incredibly artistic too, with the Fibonacci numbers going through everything and the spiraling of the planets and the galaxies, and that's really artistic too. But once you realize that this is artificial, you go, wow, they're just doing all sorts of amazing things. So I called this the largest ancient artificial megalithic structure in the world, but I got more for you. Let's see if I can find, I just want to make sure that I didn't get lost in my slides here, because I have some Bosnia River photos that I wonder if they got lost in the mix here. So the cherry on the top. All right, let's just go back to these photos here. All right. The cherry on top of all this is that oh, here they are. They just, I don't know why I don't know. This is weird. But anyway, this is the Bosnia River, okay? That's the river that the Fojnica goes into. So the Fojnica is essentially a tributary for the Bosnia River. It's a really big river and it goes north. So this is the Bosnia River. This is not the Fojnica. And I thought, well, if the Fojnica is built, maybe the Bosnia River is built too. So I went down, got some photos, and it's the same thing. So the Bosnia River is built too. Now, how far is it built? This is heading north away from Sarajevo, right? But how far is the Bosnia River built north? Unknown. You know, I didn't have time to explore the whole river. It's just, it goes on endlessly, you know, for mile after mile. But it's the same baked adhered claystone layers, right? And they're angled against the flow of the river in the Fojnica, almost as Christopher Kindmark, the volunteer, said, as the braking system to keep it going nice and slow, but also to give it some vortexes and turbulence, almost as if they wanted these little vortexes, but to keep it nice and slow so it wouldn't start taking down the pyramids. They wanted it to go slow. So all these are adhered, all these baked clay layers are adhered to each other and super strong. And they got that diagonal thing happening along with the curving. I mean, it's just, to me, it's a thing of beauty. And the meticulous nature of their work is just amazing. So then you got to wonder, so I started thinking about this after I left the complex, you know, and I came back in 2017 for a few more months, and then I went off, you know, I was in Croatia and different places. And I started to think about the terraforming of planet Earth, and I made some videos on that. Then, oh, and also I asked Samir, I said, how many pyramids do you think there are on the planet? Along with terraforming of riverbeds and that sort of thing. You know, how many pyramids are we talking about? You know, most people, if you ask them that question, they'd probably say 1,000 maybe, or 2,000 or 500, or, you know, at most they would say 10,000. He said 100,000 plus pyramids. That doesn't even count tumuli, tunnel systems, built riverbeds, you know. So that's a lot of work. Different styles of pyramids have been made across the earth, presumably by different civilizations that visited our world. David Wilcox insiders tell us that this planet is called Terra by off-worlders, and we call it Earth. But we have the terra firma, and then sometimes we call it Gaia, but they call it Terra. So 100,000 plus pyramids on Terra. Who built all these things? Who built the Bosnian Pyramid Complex? I'd like to have a video of the past. People say the Akashic Records are a video of the past, essentially, a library of everything that happened, even thoughts, intentions, if only we can access it. And there are some Akashic Records readers. So then I started thinking about the earth. How deep does the terraforming go? I started researching this issue and coming across incredible information, not just in geology, what they call geology, I put that in quotes, it's archaeology, but astrophysics, you know, which is, it's shocking. So I'm working on this book, and it'll take a couple of years to put together. It's a lot of information. But that's pretty much the presentation for today. And Neil, if your listeners have any questions, I'd be happy to engage.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask them. You can ask in the chat box or the Q&A right now. I'm gonna read through the chat right here with some comments. And if you want, you can stop your screen share. Take a look.
Okay, do you want me to just put a photo up of the riverbed, or the
Yeah,
river?
do it.
I mean,
Yep.
just for fun. Just see.
Melissa was asking, are the banks new or part of the original complex? Oh, she got her answer. New.
Which banks are, you mean like the banks right there in this photo, or the
Yeah.
ones we were looking at? because these are modern on the right. This is like the city of Visoko put up their own stuff, so that's why it's so regular right there. But the ones we were looking at, all that stuff, to me, I mean, I'm just the first to sort of look at this, and so I would just offer you my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's true. I would just say that it was all that they probably started with the riverbed, and then they worked their way up to the pyramid. So because when you build a house, you build a foundation first, and that's what the riverbed is, the foundation. So they probably the riverbed itself was built first, and the banks, and then they just worked their way up.
What kind of rock were the banks made out of?
Well, it's all concretized clay alternating with the soft earthquake mitigating clay. So as I said, the riverbed itself is all baked adhered clay layers, right? Adhered, really strong, one structure. And then you start to get the softer earthquake mitigating layers alternating with the baked clay stone layers to help the earthquake mitigation. They just couldn't afford to put the soft clay in the riverbed itself because it would just get washed out.
Right. Are these pyramids calendars, or what do you think the purpose was?
Semir Osmanagic would probably be a great guy to ask that. I don't really think we have much information on them as calendars, but in talk number 3 that you've set up through Portal to Ascension, I am going to be talking about the scalar function, which is the communication function of pyramids around the world, specifically the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Because Goran Marjanovic from Serbia, he's an electrical engineer, has come out many times to measure this beam that the 4 different scientific teams have found independently that comes out of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun and or goes into it. And it's an electromagnetic beam with a very clear edge to it. So suddenly you have the beam, and it's 9 meters wide at ground level on the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which is on the right there. And so 9 meters wide. And then what he found was that this beam, he took a microlight drone up and he started measuring the shape of it by going back and forth across the beam. And he found that the beam is not a column of energy. It's repeating ellipsoids. So it's like a double helix going up there of energy. And so it's pretty incredible. And he also found what he calls a shadow, and the shadow is the indication that it's a scalar field. A torsion field is another name for it. This is also Tesla's longitudinal or stationary wave or standing wave. There's lots of different names for it. But if it is a scalar energy torsion field energy beam, then that will absolutely allow instant or essentially instant communication from this pyramid to a pyramid literally on the other side of the galaxy, as if you're picking up the phone and calling New Jersey.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay, so when will you be going back?
Well, I have a dream, like many people do, to have another adventure in an ancient site. And the Bosnian pyramids draw me strongly, and I want to do some bathing suit archaeology with rafts coming down the river from Fojnica Grad, the town of Fojnica, that little town on the far left of the screen we had there. So all the way down, because the Fojnica tributaries, the main tributary, the Dragaca, which is the one that's going through the Fojnica Grad, the little town, is also built. So I don't have that in this presentation, but I'll just drop that little line in there. So in the video, I want to just make a nice video of floating down, having a nice time, because science doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun. And you can wear a bathing suit. It's okay. You can still be a scientist and wear a bathing suit. It can be you can get a tan and be a scientist. You can have fun. You can laugh. Semir is big on positive energy and just enjoying the exploration. You know, he calls it the beauty of the exploration. He said that's it's not about answering. It's the beauty of the mystery. So we can float down, have some drones following us, and have it from above to see the rafts. And also just explore and talk to Semir, talk to scientists, geologists, institutional geologists in the rafts, in their bathing suits. That's a condition. You have to wear you have to wear a bathing suit, even if you're an institutional geologist or anthropologist or archaeologist. Come on the raft and relax and just look at this stuff and tell us what you think. And if you think it's not built, if you think it's natural, great. That's your opinion. We'll put it in the documentary. That's what I want to do. But it's just a question of when and funding and all that stuff.
Right. And Melissa says maybe it was a possible transportation device too. Many different perspectives on what it could be, right? The scalar.
Oh, you mean the scalar beam?
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. And if it can transport a message, what else could it transport? Absolutely.
Right, right. Okay, you said a little earlier about, I think you said you asked Samir how many pyramids there were on the planet. Could you go over that part again?
Yeah, he wrote back and he said, I think that was 2 years ago, and he said 100,000 plus. That was his number.
Yeah, for sure. It's amazing. Something that I've often wondered about is if you look at the whole of the Americas, you have like a vast, very advanced pyramid culture starting in Central America, almost like as soon as you cross the U.S. border, all the way down south. But then you go to the U.S. and you don't really have those defined structures. So from my research and what I really believe is that there were like those structures throughout the whole of the Americas, and for the most part, in North America, they were destroyed, right? Or like, or covered up somehow. But it's very interesting that just in North America, really, we don't have the defined pyramid structures like we have in the South.
Well, check this out. This is in Texas, and that's just Google Earth or Google Maps, whatever it is. And that's a three-sided structure, whether it's natural or artificial, I don't know, but there's other three-sided structures near it. And so if anyone wants to check out my article, The Utopia Pyramid Complex, this is just last year. I was just thinking, well, like you said, I mean, why is there some kind of barrier between North America and everything else as far as pyramids go? So I thought, let me just check around. Within 10 minutes, I found this thing. I was like, well, I'll go do some field research.
Wow,
this thing is all concrete. My hand tool rang off of it. There's no way I could dig. There's just rings right off of it. And it's oriented to the cosmic north. That's looking north is up. And so it's the article has the photos, and you can decide what you think. I'm not going to be standing there charging you $3 to go in. It's on private land, so I don't know. It's a little bit sketchy to go research it, but so yeah, I think we just keep finding more and more. There's all dolmens throughout North America. There's Julie Ryder has this incredible Montana megaliths operation up there. So it's a pretty incredible thing to keep finding all this ancient stuff up in North America.
Right. Have they found, Brad's asking, have they found any pyramid cornerstones yet?
Oh, where?
I guess he's talking about the Bosnian pyramids.
Oh, and the Bosnian pyramids.
Yeah.
Cornerstones. Let me think for a second. Cornerstones. Well, I'm just gonna search for Northeast, see if I have this, because there is a okay, it's not there. There is this corner here, or this, yeah, the northeast corner of the Pyramid of the Sun is really clearly defined. If you stand way off to the left, outside of this frame, and take a photo of that, you can see that corner. This corner is really defined, but we don't have any stones per se that we know are cornerstones, because what people don't realize, and what it's hard for me to even understand it, how big this thing is, even though I've been there for 23 months. Every day I think, wow, it's so big. When you're on the pyramid, it's impossible to see the corner because it's so big that there's no way to find it. Suddenly you're suddenly you're on the north face and you don't know how that happened. So finding the corner is super hard.
Are you going to, at any point, Melissa's asking, is there like a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or anything to fund for more research on this place?
Yeah, it's not a Kickstarter per se, but the foundation does take donations, and I actually helped set that up on his site. And I should have let you know what that site is. It's pyramidasunsa.ba. I'm going to spell that. Pyramida is PIRAMIDA Pyramida, Piramida, Sunca, which means sun, SUNCA.BA. So go find that. That's the official Archaeological Park Foundation site. And they have, you can take, they take donations, and that's what's great about that site is that it's a Bosnian NGO nonprofit, and it's so legit, it's so awesome. It just spends your money on research and digging and running the volunteer program. It doesn't take the money and run off to Venezuela to have a vacation. You know, it's actually all the money goes into this project because they need the money really bad. And they've been surviving on tourist money for the last several years. They don't even have money from Samer's business because that's not doing so well in the States right now because it's metal parts and it's not doing well. So he's got to fund this with tourist money, but donations would be great. Pyramidasunca.ba.
Cool. And are the local, Brad's also asking, are the locals happy about the influx of tourism for the pyramid?
They're and by and large super happy about it because the war destroyed their economy. I mean, Visoko had snipers on the hill shooting at the buildings. There's still a few buildings with bullet holes in it, and that was 20-something years ago now. But Visoko was destroyed, and the country itself took a big hit economically. So that was the Orthodoxy's main sort of comeback to Semir, was that he was told that he's crazy. This is the university academia, geologists and archaeologists and anthropologists. They're saying, no, you're crazy, and the media, which went with the universities, because we think you're bringing in tourist money for war-torn Bosnia, okay? That's what we think you're trying to do. And we think you're a huckster, and we think you're a bad person, okay? So and Wikipedia still has this. Wikipedia literally tells you that he is making claims. It's not called the Bosnian Pyramids on Wikipedia. It's called Bosnian Pyramid Claims. And they say, look, he's trying to bring in tourist money, and that's Wikipedia. And it's like, oh, well, thanks a lot. Can we change that article? No, you can't, because Bosnian pyramids are listed under dubious archaeology. Because I tried to get, like I said, a 3-month-long writing project up on Wikipedia. They just rejected it. They said it's dubious archaeology. Have a nice day. I was like, yeah, but I just spent 3 months on this. What are you talking about? So Semir is not looked on with favor by the academic crowd, but that's changing little by little, person by person, and it's because the tourists keep coming. The people know that there are pyramids there, the people who research it, you know, and their friends tell them there's pyramids there, go check it out. And Ravne Tunnel is such an amazing place. It's not just a beautiful, mysterious tunnel, it's a healing tunnel. He keeps getting healing testimonials from people. They go in, they've got a hurt shoulder, they come out, their shoulder doesn't hurt anymore. I interviewed one woman, Donna Tierney. Just go on Bosnian Pyramids YouTube channel, and on the volunteers playlist, and you saw the healing playlist, and you hear her talking about her chronic sinus condition. Her whole life she's had this thing, and she goes in as a volunteer, works in Ravne Tunnel for 4 days, and comes out and she goes, you know what? I don't have my sinus condition anymore. And I interviewed her 4 days later, still doesn't have it. It's gone. So Ravne Tunnel is incredibly healing. The word's getting out big time. People go for healing there in Bosnia.
Wow.
So it's an incredible complex. Semir is the man.
Are the locals, to add to that question about the locals, are the locals and the government in alignment with allowing more excavation to happen?
That's a really good question. It went back and forth as far as the government goes. Most of the locals were behind him, although the locals I talked to they either just didn't care. Like if you said, do you think there are pyramids in Bosnia? They're like, they don't care. Yes or no. It's not even yes or no. They're just like, it's Polako there, slowly. They're in another time, most of them. But a lot of Bosnians are coming into this idea that there really is something there. And then they're getting behind it. Now the government went back and forth. At first it supported it because they said, hey, tourist money, good, bring the tourists, man. Then they got a mayor in who didn't support it for several years, and it was really tough because they wouldn't fix the roads to Ravne Tunnel, and it was tough. But now just a year and a half ago, I think, that particular mayor changed her mind 180 degrees and said, you know what? I think there is something there, and we're going to support you. And so they started giving some money toward the project. In other words, they fixed the road. I don't think they gave Samir money, but they're helping him get done what he needs to do.
Awesome. And last question here. Do you have a place where people can donate to you to help support you, doing more of your work?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I don't really have a donation thing set up. I would think that the best thing to do, see, because I do a whole lot of different things, and I'm not just a Bosnian Pyramids supporter. I'm just so into so many projects. So I would suggest that you just go to pyramidasunsa.ba and just donate there. And if you want to support me, just get onto the videos and comment and say, here's some science from another project that supports this idea, or here's some science that doesn't support it, and just engage in a scientific conversation on YouTube or on my articles on the An American in Bosnia site, which I showed you at the very beginning. So if you just go to An American in Bosnia, those are my articles. You can just bring the science. That would be a donation to me, okay?
Beautiful. Thank you, brother, for your time and energy. Amazing webinar, and looking forward to the next one.
I absolutely loved it. I'm so excited to be a part of Portal to Ascension, brother.
Thank you, man. Okay, we'll be in touch.
All right, take care now.
All right, you too.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for being with us. We are going to edit this webinar, put it up on the website, send you an email with how to access it so you can watch the replay, fast forward through it. You also get access to hundreds of hours of other presentations that we've done with your membership to our website. It's kind of like Netflix for consciousness, that you can go search by speakers, search by category, search by ancient civilizations, true world history, UFOs, speaker names, and view all these presentations. So we'll send it out to you, and we'll see you guys in a few days for the next one. And looking forward to it. Okay, appreciate you all so much. Have a beautiful evening. Talk later. Bye-bye.